Hey everyone, my name's Brandon. I'm in COM 322 with Dr. Lightsey, and today I'm going to be talking to you about what I chose to discuss and research for my final project. So, for my final project, I decided to do jealousy and hurt, but more focus on the jealousy part. Um, I chose to do this because it was the topic that we covered in class that was the most interesting. I found it to be really just something that really came out to me like, oh, I have to reach this because it's just very interesting to me because it happens in all of us. And specifically, I was looking at jealousy in relationships because I know that's where a lot of jealousy can come from and develop from. So I first wanted to start out with giving you the definitions of jealousy. So, based on what I looked up, the basic definition of jealousy is mental uneasiness from suspicion or fear or rivalry, unfaithfulness, and it's as in love or aims, vigilance or maintaining or guarding something, and it's a jealous feeling, deposition, state, or mood that like someone can be in. And I also looked up the hurt definition. I figure I'd just give it to you guys. So it's like speaking of a person, it's like to feel mental pain or distress or cause mental pain or distress to a person or their feelings. So I first wanted to go. I looked up three different sources for this project. So the first study that I found, three of the authors, their names are Lynn Webb, Elise Warford, and Patricia Amison. So I'm giving credit to all of them when I am talking about this. So this one that I found was called Thoughts and Feelings About Communication Responses to Jealousy in Romantic Relationships, the Influence of Biological Sex and Relational Proximity Abstract. So what the study was about was focusing on like jealousy in relation to men compared to women because they can be a little different. And when it came to men, the cognitive suspicion predicted the way they communicated to responses to jealousy. But when it came to women, it was a little different. It was emotional jealousy, and their cognitive certainty predicted how they communicated to responses to jealousy. And both the males and females in this study reported that they saw different triggers to their communicative responses to jealousy, and it is common for this to happen between both sexes. It's not very rare. Um, and then one of the most basic definitions of romantic jealousy was also in this study, and that involves complex thoughts, emotions, and actions that threaten self esteem or the quality of a relationship. I think that's very big when it comes to romantic relationships because jealousy can be all types of different things of like different emotions. Um, this particularly happens after there is a perceived loss by a perception of a real like attraction between a partner or like a rival. Um, Jealousy has also been examined as a complex emotion that is filled with many basic emotions, which I thought was very interesting to know. And then more jealousy can lead to frustration, distress, guilt, anger, contempt, and many more effects than that. Could be like endless of effects that are related to those. Um, to understand the toll that jealousy takes on someone, it's very interesting. Also, in this source, there was a graph laid out to give people more of a view of the different like hypotheses that were tested. Um, so in this study, there were five different hypotheses that were tested, and each of them directly related to either experiences of jealousy or communicative responses to jealousy. Um, and then, in conclusion, this study found that the relational proximity does not influence the experience or communicative responses to jealousy. And this study also adds on to ongoing research that has been going on, um, that young males' communication of jealousy is associated with suspicion, whereas females is associated with certainty and emotional jealousy, which I also agreed with because females can be more of the emotional type, while males are not. So the second study that I found, the author of this was Jennifer Bevan. So all credit to her when I am talking about this source. So this study was called Romantic Jealousy in Face-to-Face and Technologically Mediated Interactions. So a communicative interdependence perspective. So what this study was mostly about was how jealousy messages via face-to-face model segmentation slash combination relate to the romantic jealousy experience, like expressing relationship satisfaction within one another and the investment that you have in each other. And individuals that were in this study either used the face-to-face mode or used both the face-to-face and technological mediated communication to express their jealousy about someone else. So when they combine both face-to-face and technological mediated communication, they experience more jealousy and expressed it via constructive and avoidant communication. So like individuals who used the technological mediated communication had a lot of like lower relationship satisfaction and investment, and then the individuals that used only a like the face-to-face model were like more invested in the model. So in this study, there were a series of research questions that were asked based on information that was given, and then there was a series of hypotheses that were given in this set of the study, and then all the hypotheses were based on using both the face-to-face model and the technological media communication models, or like using one or the other, or like one or the other like alone. So like using the face-to-face model only, and then only using the TMC model only. And then there were also a couple of like difficult tables, or different tables that were listed to view like the data that they came up with, and a lot of the numbers were listed to show like what they came up with, and then finally like to conclude like the study, it was the first like study to consider individuals like in relationships to use one or more of the combinations of the FTF and the TMC communication models to express their jealousy towards one another. So for this, I personally agree with if it's face to face, you're obviously going to be more invested in it versus if it was over technology or whatever, because in any relationship, like face to face is always better versus over technology. And like if it's long distance, obviously you're going to feel like some type of jealousy of someone else that's in your partner's life or whatever, that they're hanging out with, or just stuff like that. So then the third study that I found was this was also, the author of this study was also Jennifer Bevan, so all credit to her when I'm talking about this. And this one was called The General Partner and Relational Uncertainty as Consequences of Another Person's Jealousy Expression. So basically what this study was about was the general partner and relational uncertainty arise in one, and the individualized reaction to jealousy expression from that individual's partner. So, but like more in depth, like the uncertainty that is present after another person expresses jealousy is different based on relational type and how the jealousy is expressed. So, to test what went on in this study, there were different scenarios that were involving cross sex friends, siblings, dating partners, and negative, neutral, and positive jealousy. So, when they found out that there was like the cross sex friends and the more when they found out that when they found out that there was like the cross sex friends and there was more like uncertainty like after someone else expresses the jealousy for that particular person. So also the use of the negative effect expression can have like a greater uncertainty versus if there was a positive effect expression. There are a couple of different tables that were listed in this study to like go over the numbers that they had, and in these tables it was differentiating between the the demographic variable compared to the like relational variables um, between like the different people and stuff. And in the tables there was an overall like view like of oh, like so like in the tables there was like overall view, and then there was like compared to sibling, friend, and like dating view. And then with the numbers behind it, there were also a lot like couples with more tables later on that described the jealousy scenario compared to the jealousy expression type. And then in conclusion for this study, these expression types go with each other that explain more about the general partner and the relational uncertainty when it comes to actual like jealousy expression like situations like between people. So that's all I have. I found three very interesting sources for jealousy, and I thought it was very interesting to read over all of them. And yep,